If you're on day 0 of NoFap again, you may not need to try harder. Technically, you may actually need to try smarter. If you don't know me, my name is Krishna, and I help young men quit their porn addictions. And so, when I first discovered NoFap, I was hyped. Right? I remember watching all of those videos in a row and being like, and seeing the things that they would say in those videos and being like, yeah, once you get to day 90, it's like you'll be able to levitate, you know what I'm saying? They would say stuff like this. I remember feeling so hype about it. Right? I was like, I'm gonna get all of these benefits. It's like I'm gonna get, I'm gonna be able to build more muscle. I'm gonna be able to feel more confident. But the next day, what would happen? I'd relapse. Right? And after I would relapse, I'd be like, okay, like I feel really bad about it, but I know I need to quit this. It's like, come on, it's like we can't relapse again. This is the last time I'm gonna relapse. I promise, this is the last time. Next day, same thing. I'd relapse again. And this streak of me relapsing, feeling the shame about it, telling myself this is the last time I'm gonna do it, and then doing it again the next day, that continued on for, I don't even know how long, months. Like, think about how painful that is when you have the awareness you need to quit. You know this thing is bad for you, right? You've watched a lot of videos about it. Everybody's telling you all these like tactics and things like this. And you keep relapsing every single day. At one point, eventually it got better. It got me to getting to day 3, day 4, and then relapsing. Sometimes I get to 2 weeks. 2 weeks without relapsing. And then I'd relapse on like the 15th day. But the thing that I wish I could tell my younger self is that day 0 of NoFap is not a failure, right? That doesn't mean you failed. It just means that relapse is just another opportunity for you to learn and recalibrate your approach, right? Because if you go into NoFap, if you go into trying to quit porn with no system at all, if you just try and brute force your way through, if you just try and go cold turkey, you're going to fail. At least that's what happened to me. I remember trying to quit porn with no system, with no plan, and it took me so long to actually quit. Like I wasted so much time. I felt so much guilt, so much shame, so much unnecessary guilt and shame that I didn't need to feel. For me personally, I just had the right system, right? I think James Clear is the person who says, he wrote the book Atomic Habits. He says in Atomic Habits, everybody has the same goals, but it's the person with the right system who wins. And so it makes sense because when it's nighttime, what's happening, right? You're usually there in your room, you're on your computer, you're on your phone, you're scrolling on Instagram, you're watching random YouTube videos, you're bored, right? At the end of the day, that's the fundamental mechanism that's going on. You're bored, and so to cure that boredness, to cure those like uncomfortable thoughts and those feelings that come up, what do? You go and watch porn, right? And even at nighttime, especially at nighttime, your willpower level is significantly lower than it would be just throughout the day. And so for that, you need to build more like nighttime rules, right? Because at least for me, whenever I had like a structured nighttime routine, or really just a structured routine in general, I would relapse a lot less, right? Because it reduces randomness. It reduces just like spontaneity. And progressively, I guess, like deloading or like slowly reducing your usage over time is infinitely better than just trying to go cold turkey like that. Because if you just try and go cold turkey, it's not going to work. The only reason that I know this is because I've tried it before. I've tried it with 2 addictions. I've tried it with video games and I've tried it with porn. It doesn't work. It just does not work. I felt like I basically had no control. Right? Like the urges, the feelings, the cravings were so strong that I just couldn't do it. Right, and I was watching porn, I was like doing that stuff at least once a day, maybe even multiple times per day. And so to go from doing it 2 times a day to just not doing it at all forever, that's a big jump. Right, that's like going into the gym and asking a beginner to basically just bench press 3 plates. What do you think is going to happen when you go into the gym and then like you ask the beginner, hey, let's throw on 315 and you got to hit it? It's not going to work. He's going to get injured. He's going to fail. Right? So what do you have to do? You have to start with the empty bar and just work your way back up. And so instead of trying to quit cold turkey, the thing that helped me was slowly reducing it over time. So if I used to do it twice a day, then I would only do it once a day. If you did it twice a day, let's say over a month, 30 days in a month, that's 60 times in the entire month. If you reduce it from 60 times to 30 times, that's a 50% reduction. 50%. That is huge progress already in and of itself, right? And then once you go from 60 to 30, maybe the next month what you can do is you can go to 25. You can do it 25 times in the month, and then go to 20, and then go to 15 and 10. That's how you actually do it. Now, part of it is ego, right? Part of why a lot of people try and go cold turkey is because of ego. If you were addicted, you could just stop. But unfortunately, it's not as simple as that. You don't just, quote, stop doing it. You reduce the amount of times that you do it till eventually you stop doing it, right? And you become the type of person who doesn't need to do that thing. And I get it, right? Like I remember I wanted to quit cold turkey too. Like I wanted to just like fully stop this addiction because it was genuinely terrible. It ruined my mental health. It ruined my perception of other people. And I wanted to quit. Of course I did. But I had to have a little bit of humility and a lot of patience to understand that I can't quit just like this. Right? I had to trust the process and trust the system that I had. And that takes time. That takes patience. Right? Like now I haven't touched any of that type of stuff. I haven't touched porn. I haven't touched any of this in 4 years. But the only reason that I was able to get to that point is because 4 years ago, I was addicted. Right? And so the advice that I would give to you, or like the action item that I would give to you, is to create a system. And by a system, just create like a simple nighttime routine or whatever it is that you relapse, right? Create a routine for that time so that you reduce randomness, you reduce spontaneity, and you reduce boredom. Because those things they create the prime environment for you to basically relapse. You know what I'm saying? If you're just in your room doing random stuff and you're bored, you're gonna relapse. Whereas if you're in your room and you have a structured routine, you're like, okay, I don't have my phone in my bedroom, or I stop watching my phone at 8 p.m. and then I read a book, and then I do this, and then I meditate, and then I take a shower, whatever. And then I go to bed by 9 p.m. All of a sudden, you have a structure, right? And when you have a structure, you start to do things within that structure. And when you do things within that structure, well, there's less time for you to think about relapsing. Because when you're just idly sat there in your room like this, just like looking around, like watching, like scrolling on your phone, of course you're going to relapse, right? Whereas if you have a structure in place, then the chance that you relapse is much, much lower. At least for me personally, that is what worked. It's called the 3D method. And this is the system that helped me a lot to to reduce the amount of times that I relapse until eventually I just stopped. I just stopped relapsing, right? And so if you want that, you can go and you can click the first link in the description down below. And if you're serious about quitting your porn addiction and you want more structure and you want more accountability, then you can go also in the description, you can click the second link where you can apply to the 30-day reset challenge that I'm holding. So if you're interested in any of those things, then you can go and you can check out the description down below. Take care, bro.